Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, featuring headlines from across the world, courtesy of our friends over across the pond at boxing247.com. Thank you very much, Christian von Sponek and your team, for bringing us the news that we can bring to the boxing fans. Here we go. Elijah Pierce announced himself as a serious contender in the 122-pound division as he stopped Darren Williams to win the WBC USNBC title in front of a huge crowd at the Hall at Live Casino Hotel in Maryland. This was the 9th consecutive crowd-pleasing show promoted by Jeter Promotions at that very same location. Jeter Promotions signee Pierce dropped Williams 3 times and dominated the fight. Pierce, who will continue to surge up the rankings, has a record of 15-2 with 12 knockouts. Williams out of Maryland is now 9-2. So a quick look here. Jeter Promotions excited to feature Elijah based on performance, yada, yada, yada. Francis Scarborough Jr. won a 4-round unanimous decision over previously undefeated Antonio Dunton L. in the super featherweight division. Mansabore Condi remained undefeated by winning a 4-round unanimous decision over Brandon Clark in their super middleweight bout. Jakeem Hutcherson and Ernest Hall battled to a 6-round majority draw, and that was in the super featherweight division. Joseph Avizi remained undefeated by stopping Rashad Kilpatrick in round 2 of their 6-round welterweight clash. Derek Van took a 6-round split decision over AJ Williams in their super middleweight fight, and Brandon Chambers remained undefeated with a 6-round majority decision over Vit Y in a battle for the ABF USA Super Bantamweight title. Good for them. There were a few more results, but names I'm not familiar with. Please go to Boxing 247 if you want to check out more on the undercard. Coming up on Saturday, November 5th at the John T. Rhodes Myrtle Beach Sports Center, promoted by Christy Martin, in association with Fiesta Mexicana, will proudly present Mayhem in Myrtle 6. It's a stacked night of world-class professional and amateur boxing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. In the night's 10-round main event, undefeated Kenmon Evans, 8-0-1, with two knockouts out of Florida, will take on Georgia's Aaron Gozmaz Casper for the NABA Light Heavyweight Championship. In the co-main event, promising undefeated heavyweight Norman Neely, 13-0 out of New Jersey, will have his second fight in 2 months and 4th this year when he takes on an experienced Southpaw veteran, Jason Ironman Bergman out of Alabama in their 6-round brawl. Tickets are available, and as numerous sponsors, you can get them at Eventbrite. Also scheduled for action is the hard-hitting transplant Floridian, Artem Abrusov, 11-0, 10 knockouts, as he continues his march up the super middleweight ranks against the foe that's to be announced. Undefeated hometown hero Josh Baker, by the way, 1-0 out of Myrtle Beach, will look to stay perfect. And Floridian Zachary Albanoz is his opponent. Marietta George's all-action Ruben Mora will make his 4th-round super lightweight professional debut against an opponent that's also to be announced later. And Don King promoted undefeated Cuban prospect Raynel Menderes, 7-0, will appear in a welterweight clash, a 6-rounder with an opponent to be announced later. So there you go. Some good action coming to you from South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. Great vacation spot. If you've never been there, I recommend it. It's going to be a fun time. All right, let's move along now to the super middleweight division. The WBO Interim Super Middleweight World Championship will be on the line when Zach Parker takes on John Ryder at the O2 Arena on Saturday, November 26th, in what should be a thrilling domestic collision to be shown live on BT Sport over in the UK. Parker, the super middleweight destroyer from Derby, was originally set to fight Demetrius Andrade for the interim title before the American withdrew from the running, and next in line is North Londoner Ryder, who Parker has previously expressed a keen willingness to fight in what is a major all-British clash. Parker, by the way, is 22-0 with 16 knockouts and has blasted out all before him since teaming up with Frank Warren and Queensberry, scoring brutal knockout victories over Von Alexander, Shirzad Kruslanov, Marcus Morrison, 3 men who had not previously been stopped. So good to hear. Also on that fight, by the way, Dennis the Menace McCann, who we featured here on Talkin' Fight. He's 13-0 from Maidstone, and he'll fight for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title against Glasgow man Joe Ham. McCann has won the WBO Super Bantamweight title and the WBC International Silver Featherweight title in his last 2 fights. Also on this card, by the way, Sam Noakes, 9-0, 9 knockouts, who's returning from a hand injury, will defend his WBC International Lightweight title for a second time against the unbeaten Scot Calvin McCord, 11-0. So, says promoter Frank Warren, we have got a cracking show lined up for the O2, headlined by what should be an absolute stormer between our man Zach Parker and the highly respected John Ryder for the WBO interim world title at super middleweight. We're expecting Zach to come up against Demetrius Andrade, but with Andrade having pulled out for the second time, now gives us a big domestic clash against the number 2 contender, Ryder. The winner will be the mandatory for when Canelo Alvarez is forced back into action at super middleweight or elects to vacate his belts. Good stuff. Now, on to the lightweights. Quick little recap here. As we all know, Devin Haney remains undefeated, 29-0 in the lightweight division. He's the undisputed lightweight champion, having beaten George Kambosos Jr. down under. Kambosos now holds a 20-2 record with 10 knockouts. Haney's record, by the way, has 15 knockouts to his credit. But that's important because we're now going to talk about another upcoming match featuring Vasyl Lomachenko, who's set to face Jermaine Ortiz. That's on Saturday, October 29th at Madison Square Gardens, Hulu Theater in New York. The fight is scheduled for 12 rounds, as I said, in the lightweight division, which means the weight limit will be at 135 pounds, or for the English among us, 9.6 stone. Lomachenko steps into the ring with a record of 16 wins, 2 losses, and no draws. 11 of those wins coming by way of knockout, by the way. Ortiz will make his way to the ring with an unblemished record of 16 wins and 1 draw, 8 of those by knockout. So that's going to be a pretty good fight. And the winner, I would have to imagine, will certainly seek a fight against, as I said, Devin Haney, who remains undefeated at 29-0. But there is competition bubbling under, and Lomachenko is no youngster, though. I think he's 34 years old now. So I'm not saying he's getting old, but I think he would certainly cherish that fight with Haney. Let's move along now to our concluding story of this particular episode featuring the heavyweights. Number 1, WBO ranked Joe Joyce believes IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk has little interest in facing him. The unbeaten Joyce, 15-0, 14 knockouts, predicts that Usyk will soon vacate his WBO title rather than defend it against him. With Usyk expected to fight WBC champ Tyson Fury in the first quarter of next year, the chances are high that he won't be a champion any longer beyond that clash. So, instead of Joyce worrying about Usyk avoiding him or vacating his WBO title, it'll be Fury that will be the guy in the hot seat with the responsibility of needing to defend that strap or not. This is courtesy of BoxingNews24.com, by the way, and courtesy of our friend Barry Holbrook, who says Joyce, who's now 37 years of age, captured the interim WBO title last September with an 11th round knockout over Joseph Parker. That victory put Joyce in a position to challenge Usyk, or whoever holds the WBO title next year. When Joyce was an amateur, by the way, he lost to Usyk in a 5-round decision many years ago when he was much lighter, 230 pounds, and not the fighter he is today. Usyk has already made known that he only wants to fight 3 more times against Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez, and a farewell fight in Ukraine. So Usyk's retirement fight in his home country will likely be against a non-threatening opponent that lacks the ability to beat him. So it's safe to say that Usyk won't select a live body like Joyce as his opponent because of the risk that he would pose to him. Ideally, said Joyce, I would like to fight Usyk. But it seems he is now looking elsewhere, considering moving back to cruiserweight or wanting to fight Fury. But it doesn't look like that's on the table at the moment. Usyk could vacate, and then I would be elevated. I think he's probably going to vacate. He doesn't want that smoke. He also has been at it a long time, said Joyce. So if Usyk beats Fury in February or March, he probably will vacate the WBO title if the organization attempts to order him to defend against Joyce. Again, the chances of Usyk still holding the WBO belt after facing Tyson Fury are low. Hundreds of amateur bouts over the years, and he will have earned every decent money for his last two fights. I don't know, says Joyce. Does he really want to take on the juggernaut? Who knows? And the ongoing barbs continue in the heavyweight division. We look forward to seeing announcements soon and seeing who can move up the ranks and unclog those top 5 positions. Thank you for joining me here on Talk and Fight. Appreciate it. Remember to join us later on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Knuckle Up featuring Mike Orr and Cedric Ben. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you tomorrow.